What's up, YouTube land? Xeno Gaming back with episode number 10 of my F1 2020 My Team series. And here today we are at the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal for the circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. One of the better tracks on the calendar. Another straight circuit and another test for the driver. Plenty of walls, plenty of chicanes. Fast corners. It's a great track, great, and provides great racing. So for us today, we're looking to get back into a bit of form. We had a poor race last time out in Baku, so hopefully we can put that behind us and go into Canada with a bit more of a, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but a bit better. And yeah, anyway, this is the first lap in Q1, and not a bad opening lap behind Raikkonen, but ahead of the two Haas cars. We've been quicker than the Haas cars all year, but we're kind of in between there. So you can see from that first run, we're currently sitting 10th. I don't think every car's completed a lap, but I'm going again, same set of tyres, and we're down here, but we have a much better run through the final chicane, get a much better exit, and now we're up. So we're down the first two sectors of the lap, and really it was only the last chicane that gets us up to improve our time. We actually improved the 9th place. After everyone would set our laps, you can see where that places us in between the two Alfa Romeo cars. So I decided to risk it. Here, there's 5 seconds left, as you can see, and I didn't use another set of tyres because I used a balance setting this week, so I had that set of mediums instead of a set of softs. So I saved the set of tyres, so now I've got 2 sets for Q2 and Q3. And I'm feeling good about my chances of getting into Q3 after that first run. And especially getting through to Q2 with 1 set of tyres, I think is a good thing. So here we go, moving through now to Q2, first run. And using all that wall room, not the wall, all the room possible there as we come to the line. And a decent first lap puts us in 7th place here. We're stepping on the medium tyre. But that first lap only had us in 13th place, and now we're going again here on our second set of soft tyres, and we really need to put in a lap here. We're improving by a lot here, so as we now run to the line, it's going to be a much better lap here into the 1 minute 8. Yes, it is, and we move here into 5th place, so great lap here. Obviously expecting Verstappen to get it ahead, and he does, but 7th place, and we move into Q3, and we've got 1 set of soft tyres remaining. If I really wanted to, I could use a set of mediums, but the reason I have those tyres is for the race. I believe we could use that a fresh set of mediums to our advantage for strategy purposes. So here we go. Here's a full lap of the Canadian Grand Prix circuit. As you come into turn 1, looking for that white on the outside where I like to brake, using that inside curve, back to 2nd gear, and now short shift to 4th, and then trying to get on the power, be as aggressive as you can. Up to 7th gear here, back down 2 gears for the right left chicane, trying to get on the throttle as early as you can, using all the room possible on the outside. Sweep right to the right, and now looking back to 3rd gear, use that inside curve, trying to get on the throttle as early as possible, short shifting to limit that traction and that wheel spin, sorry. Now coming to another right left chicane here, high 5th gear, really fast chicane, trying to use all the room possible using that outside curb, and now on the run to their hairpin, up into 8th gear, back down to 2nd gear here, trying to get this car as turned in, tucked in as possible, trying to get on that throttle as early as possible for the most important exit on the track, as we now run down the long straight here to the final chicane, turn 13 and 14, the Wall of Champions. Got to be really brave here on the brakes just after the 100-meter board, and then trying to ride that inside curb right left, using all the room on the outside, just missed the wall, and now the run to the finish line with a pretty good lap actually, and that's probably our best lap of the day actually, not sure compared to the other times, but 8th place, and that's a good starting spot for tomorrow's race. So yeah, good job there, and hopefully we can build on this qualifying.
Qualifying finished. It's time.
So yeah, Bottas on pole from Lewis Hamilton, and with us in 8th place, it's a good spot. Just Perez only did a better job than us, so let's go to the race.
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to a variant of this track back in 1978, It was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. We'll be seeing top speeds of around 210 miles an hour here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 2/3 of the lap taken at full throttle. High-speed chicanes spell potential danger, especially at the infamous Wall of Champions. And watch out for overtaking into the hairpin and the final chicane. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. Looks like they've got a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Alexander Albon, and Perez. The captain, Ricciardo, Stroll, and Carlos Sainz. Ocon, Hamilton, they've taken a grid penalty. Kimi Raikkonen and Norris, Giovinazzi, Gasly, Antoine Hubert, and Kevin Magnussen, Grosjean, Kvyat, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Welcome everybody here today to the Canadian Grand Prix. We've got a two-stop strategy in store, a soft to medium, so that is interesting to see how that's going to work out for us. I actually don't mind that, so that's a good thing for us. But also, Lewis Hamilton, grid penalty, that's put us at 7th place on the grid. So now we're on the inside of the grid. I think that should be a good thing for us, so that's also a good thing. Also, the Williams cars both took grid penalties, but that doesn't really matter for them. They're one of the only cars that doesn't matter because they just start last anyway. So, anyway, the Revs arrives here in Montreal for the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, and let's go. And not the best launch off the line. Can we get a run to turn 1? We got Ricciardo on our outside here into turn 1 challenging us. We don't really make any impact on the guys ahead, as Perez and Albon are side by side. As now we don't have the run towards turn 4 on either of them, and they're going to go side by side. We're ahead of Ricciardo though, and Albon gets squeezed out by Perez. Can we have an opportunity here? No, he's going to sweep across our front wing. We're going to go down the inside here, and Albon has contact, and we almost spin. We saved the car there, and Ricciardo tried to go around the outside, but we hold him off, and we hold on to 7th place here. So not a bad start, but not ideal. And we picked up a little bit of front wing damage, only that lime green colour, so it shouldn't affect the performance too badly. Also, with Hamilton getting a grid penalty today, we're going to have to watch him coming through. We've got Lance Stroll, actually, who's got ahead of Ricciardo, attacking us into the hairpin there, but we managed to keep him behind. A bit of a yellow flag in the back, so not sure what happened, actually. But, yeah, with Hamilton getting that grid penalty, we've got him behind us, but that really just has handed this race to Valtteri Bottas today, because I don't think the two Ferraris can challenge him. We'll see if Vettel or Leclerc can challenge him. I don't think Verstappen can, as he leads this opening lap of the Grand Prix. As we now move to lap 6, and it's really been a stalemate. I've been following Albon, he's been following Perez, he can't get past, I can't get past at the minute. Stroll's still behind us, but Perez keeping in touch with the Ferrari ahead, and that is Leclerc. I believe Leclerc does have a bit of engine issues, not exactly sure. He has got some sort of issue, that's why he's falling back into Perez's clutches here on lap 7 of the Canadian Grand Prix, with Verstappen and Vettel, Bottas all getting ahead, but Vettel keeping Bottas on us at the minute. You can see here really the pack tightening up here in the hairpin, and now this is where the Mercedes engine is doing its best work here. Albon with the Honda powered Red Bull is having to go defensive on us. We've got a great slipstream on the run. Now it's who's braving the brakes. As Perez and Leclerc go into the pit lane, we skip across the chicane. We keep the position. In real life, you'd have to give that back. We're keeping it. I was just afraid there was going to be contact if I had have made the corner. That's the only reason I skipped the chicane. Not a great look here, but a couple laps later, lap 10, we're on our alternate strategy. We're coming in for another set of softs, where the other guys came in for a set of mediums. I think they're doing a soft to medium strategy, where I'm doing a soft to medium strategy. which is going to be interesting to see how that works into our hands. Interesting messages there from Jeff. Rain in 15 minutes, and now we're getting a front wing change. So I left the front wing on auto, and then I've messed up my pit exit as well. That's cost us even more time. Through a couple of cars ahead. We're behind them anyway, but now I've just cost myself time to them. But as we come out behind our teammate Hubert, I left the front wing on auto, and because I had lime green damage, it's changed the front wing, even though my pace was good. Lime green damage to one side of the front wing does not knock around your pace. You do feel a little bit understeer, but it doesn't really affect your pace. Maybe a tenth or two. There's no point in changing it. You're not going to reap the rewards. But we've changed it. In the future now know that if I pick up that lime green damage, so I've got to set the front wing to no to make sure it doesn't get changed. You can see I still have a little bit of wheel issues. I'm trying to get on top of those. I'm just persevering with it at the moment. And if I have to change to a new wheel, I will. But there are just some instances where I don't shift when I should, and I'd over-rev the engine. Not by purpose, just by pure issues. But here we go. We have DRS and our team Hubert. He's on the medium tyre. Critical for us to get past. So you can see what the front wing change has done. We're a long way back. We're behind our teammate even. And we moved past for 16th place here. So that front wing change has cost us a lot of... in terms of track positions behind Gasly now. We've got yellow flags ahead. So any chance of getting past Gasly here into turn 1 is probably gone now, as we have an Alfa Romeo going slowly. That's Kimi Räikkönen. So Kimi Räikkönen had a big blow up there. He's out of the Grand Prix, and he'll have to pull off the side of the track. So I wonder if that will cause a virtual safety car or a real safety car. So as we now come through turn 3 and 4, we're looking to see where we can get past Gasly, as Räikkönen is confirmed out of the race, and a virtual safety car was deployed. So now, moving after the virtual safety car, we've once again got DRS on Gasly. He's in the Honda engine. We are not pulling as closely as I thought he would. Maybe he's running a bit of a lower downforce compared to what Albon's running, I don't know. Maybe his Alpha Tauri has a little bit more power, I'm not sure. But we once again had DRS on the main straight, and this time we're pulling close with the overtake button as well. And now we go down the inside, outbrake him into turn 1 and gain the position. So move ahead of Gasly, and now Giovinazzi up next here on lap 15 in the Grand Prix. As now we have DRS here chasing down Giovinazzi for 12th place. And we have the DRS. We're kind of using this straight to pull ourselves closer. Use the braking to get even closer. And now trying to really get the exit out of here. Open the DRS overtake mode. Really pulling closer now in the slipstream. And now you can see what the run. Giovinazzi goes to the inside. We're going to go to the outside, around the outside. Lock up the front left tyre. And unfortunately though, we can see we have to come in for our medium tyres at the end of this lap. So this second set of softs stint was really just wasted overtaking those 3 guys, and that was really unfortunate. Front wing change has really hurt our strategy here today, as we now come in for the medium compound tyre. There is rain that is coming, but I don't know how much. Before the race there was no indication of rain, but mid-race that's obviously the weather has changed here in Montreal, so it'll be an interesting finish here as we are able to come out in 18th place ahead of George Russell in the Williams car. So we're going to have to really set up the timesheets a lot here. We're going to have to use these fresher tyres. Well, the rest of the field are on older medium tyres to come back at him. So here's Daniel Ricciardo. He came into the pit lane and this is the start of lap 22. And you can see we're actually going to be ahead of Ricciardo. So we've got a nice undercut here. I'm not sure how far Ricciardo was originally ahead of us, but we've gained a position on Ricciardo here. As we now come to the end of lap 22 and the start of 23, and we're passing Sainz and Lance Stroll. And Lance Stroll, he's probably going to be ahead of us to nature at this pit lane exit, but we will be ahead of Sainz as well. Will Ricciardo be ahead? So we now move back into 12th place here. So this undercut and strategy seems to actually be working into our favour. So with the front wing change, who knows where we could have been? As you can see, Albon's actually not that far up the road. So points are still possible here today if we can just drag a little bit more performance out of our car. And you can see here a little bit of rain has started to fall as well here. Lance Stroll is now attacking Esteban Ocon, who must be on a one-stop strategy, and he's actually on the hard tyre and has been caught quite quickly by Stroll. And now we're looking at the back of Ocon. Ricciardo has been behind us this whole time, but he hasn't been able to get past us. He's been within that 1 second gap. Now we're going to use a form of defense. Going to be attacking his teammate Ocon here, who's definitely just not as quick on these set of tyres. and this is a position for ninth place actually. So 2 points. You can see they're struggling a little bit with the shifting, but that's okay. We are just kind of persevering with that. It's not knocking around my pace as of yet at the minute, so we should be okay. But yeah, we should be able to get past Ocon on this next straight here. Going to go deep on the brakes here, and you can see he won't have the same traction. He just slides out of that hairpin corner with traction issues. But we now have the DRS, and we're going to use this to our maximum advantage to get past Esteban Ocon. He goes defensive. We're going to go to the outside here, and we're streaming past with DRS. We're going to be ahead by the time we hit the brakes, and we take away ninth place. So that's an extra point for us here today. And now we've got a couple seconds to Lance Stroll ahead, and we'll try and focus on getting that gap down with 8 laps to go. We now move to the last lap of the Grand Prix. You see Ricciardo took a few extra laps to get past Ocon, and he was so slow. We've actually pulled that gap out quite a bit. So, but it took us 8 laps to finally get to within DRS of Lance Stroll. You can see I didn't have it there, but this is going to be the first and only chance with DRS, and this is the last lap of the Grand Prix. So if we want to double our points tally here today, we need to get past Lance Stroll here on this final lap. So an exciting finish here in Montreal. Despite the front wing change, we've shown we've been quite competitive here today in Canada. There's a little lock up, but that's okay. Trying to get the best exit. Tricky conditions as well with the rain falling. Definitely the times have dropped a couple of seconds, but DRS is still in use, so obviously not time for inters and still good enough for dry tyres, but the times have dropped slightly slower. But we've been very good in these last 5 laps to really start hurrying in on Stroll. And now Vettel has actually won the Grand Prix, so he has beaten Valtteri Bottas. So that's a disappointing day for Valtteri Bottas. And out of the hairpin though, we really tried to put the power down. I knew I had to get a good exit. I wasn't as close as I wanted to be, and I put it down as if it was dry conditions and a qualifying lap, and the rear tyres couldn't live with it. So that's unfortunate, but that's okay. I'm very happy though, despite the front wing change, to still come away in this Grand Prix with 2 points. And so overall a good result. Could have been better though.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
A truly magnificent drive then, and a great performance from the entire team to secure victory here in Canada. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari do it again. Look at how the driver standings have changed. More points for Valtteri Bottas, further solidifying his lead at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
Well, for me, it's got to be Lewis Hamilton. The multiple world champion may be the boring choice at this point, but you can't argue that he's a driver deserving of his reputation.
Let's move on to the constructors. The current championship leaders still hold top spot, but that gap is getting smaller. Meanwhile, good work from Racing Point this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So that was a really interesting Grand Prix. Had a good start to it, and then that second stint was really difficult, having the front wing change and having to overtake a few cars, which was really enjoyable, having to fight back. And our race came alive by pitting for medium tyres like 3 or 4 laps before everybody else, and because the field was close, we were able to leapfrog a lot of cars and get back into the points today. We saw a good move on Esteban Ocon. Unfortunately, at the end, we couldn't get past Lance Stroll. But a good day overall. Could have had more points maybe, but that's unfortunately just the way it goes sometimes. So Vettel wins the Grand Prix as well, which is a surprise to me. But, you know, good job by him and Ferrari to sneak a win off Valtteri Bottas and Mercedes there, when maybe they shouldn't have. Good cash flow coming in this weekend as well, which is always nice to see when you get your objectives at just start and you see that positive cash flow. Really hitting those objectives is really important to help money coming into the team. Anyway, so yeah, good result at the end of the day. We'll take 2 points, especially when Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri don't score. It's going to be tough to beat Alfa Romeo because Raikkonen had such a good result. Unless we get a result similar to that, it'd be very difficult to claw points over the course of a season back, especially when, you know, we can really, on our best days, only grab a 9th and 8th. Obviously, we finished 6th in the Netherlands, but I don't know if we have that kind of performance in the car unless you drastically improve. It's very difficult to beat the top 3 teams, and unless that one of them retires, so you're going to need a bit of luck. Upgrades, I'm thinking here, helping out the power unit situation for tracks like, hopefully get these ready for tracks like Belgium, Monza, but you also have Austria coming up. Silverstone is a pretty power reliant track, so I also noticed, I think Mercedes had a durability upgrade come through for us, which is good to see. So the Works Power Unit guys are still doing their end of the job. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for plenty more My Team content. And until the next video for the French Grand Prix, till then, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.